Ray, grab that microphone there, could you? The main reason you're here is not so much to play the bagpipes, it's to talk about the big festival, the Scottish Festival coming up. And we're all looking forward to it. It's taking place June the 21st and 23rd at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds. What can we expect to see and hear at this wonderful festival?
That's our House Scottish Games and Celtic Festival, which is taking place at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds. It's a lot more than just a music festival. We have things that go back in medieval times, like jousting.
No, tell me about that. I have never seen it. I've seen it in the movies. Tell me what it is. Is there any animal rights people protesting that?
Well, one of the things that about jousting troops is that some of the jousting troops are kind of like WWE, where it's acted, where the outcome is already known. It's not necessarily fake, but the outcome's known. The jousting troupe that we have, it is real live jousting. They're preparing for the North American Championships of Jousting, which takes place in Colorado at the end of the summer. And they're trying to knock each other off the horse. As a matter of fact, last year we had 2 knights that had to withdraw due to injury. One had a concussion and another one separated his shoulder.
Well, some people would love that, you know.
We spent a lot of time. We actually have to truck in about 3 tons of sand just to try to make the ground softer. As they say, when I get knocked off a horse, I don't want to be landing on my head on really hard ground. But even with that, they get injured. So it was brand new last year, and it was a huge hit. And so we're having them back this year.
And what about the horses? Did the horses get hurt?
Oh, not at all. These are not. The lances are made of wood, and the lances are aimed at the humans, and they break off before anybody.
It probably isn't any worse than going to school to the nuns or the Christian Brothers.
You know I can't comment on that.
Oh, no, but I can, because I went to the Brothers. I know what it's like.
The dear nuns at St. Mary's Manor.
I spent 5 years under them, the Christian Brothers.
Well, we also have Highland Athletics, which are, probably the most recognized sport is the caber toss, which is when they try to flip a telephone pole. But there are 9 events in total, and we have it's really growing in the state of Ohio. We have roughly 60 competitors, both men and women, that compete throughout the day on Saturday, June 22nd. In addition to that, we also have, and this is a new exhibit this year, falconry or birds of prey, which was big in both Scotland and Ireland.
Explain to me how that works.
Well, in a very real sense, from a practical point of view, if you have birds that are being a nuisance, then you bring in falcons or owls to make sure they're not a nuisance anymore.
I don't know how it works around my house. Nellie feeds the birds every morning, and I complain for the rest of the day about the birds droppings all over the place. And I clean it up, and she goes out and does the same thing again next day. Do I need a falcon?
That would take care of the problem. But we have the Ohio School of Falconry, who operate out of Columbus, and they're coming up and doing demonstrations and exhibits, and it's not just falcons; it's also owls and other birds of prey that they'll be doing demonstrations with. The Border Collies is also another very popular. Everybody loves dogs, but seeing the dogs, sheep herding throughout the day is always a very popular thing. And of course, as always, I'll have the pipe bands, solo pipe contests, Highland dancing, and we have 5 stages of music that go out throughout the day. Some of them are competitive stages early in the day, and then they turn into entertainment stages, but there'll be music throughout the day.
So you have some Irish dancers also. I see you have the Brady Campbell Dance School.
Absolutely, yes, and the Lenahan School. They're both performing.
And then the Scottish dancers.
So the Highland dancers are in competition primarily, so they're not going to be doing a demonstration. The Irish dancers are doing demonstrations. And I always have to have them, they're cousins both. both of them. So
It says the tattoo at 6 o'clock. Explain what that is.
a tattoo is probably the most, well, easily the most famous tattoo is the Edinburgh tattoo, which takes place at Edinburgh Castle in Edinburgh, Scotland. It has a kind of a military distinction, but for purposes of being in North America, it's very much like an end of the competition day. So you'll have not only the mass pipes and drums, and we're going to have a very large field of pipe bands, probably over 18 competitive pipe bands, roughly around 300 to 400 bagpipers, all playing during this show. And they'll be playing all at once, which is really kind of a fun thing to do.
That'll wake up everybody at Holy Cross Cemetery.
Right.
And you also have harp and fiddle, and we also have new this year is the brass band of the Western Reserve. Brass band of the Western Reserve will be playing on Saturday afternoon, but then they'll also be part of the Twilight Tattoo. It is a British style brass band, and combining brass with bagpipes is a very common thing. It's really pretty, especially when you're playing tunes like Amazing Grace and whatnot, combined with brass. And that's what the Twilight Tattoo is. So, and that'll be 6 to 7 o'clock on Saturday night, and then right after that will be the last jousting show, which will be at 7:30.
Great. Sounds like a great event coming up. One of the many events coming up in the Cleveland area in the next few months. So I hope everybody gets an opportunity to see this, the Scottish Festival. We don't want to be monopolizing everything in Cleveland, the Irish, But I did see, Barry, I'm very impressed, there's going to be a Scottish Garden. Now, working on the Scottish Garden, there's a big article on it. If you have people, the newspaper, John O'Brien's newspaper, Irish, the Scottish Garden, it's been there for years and years, but now they're bringing some new life to it, new money, and new funding.
Did you see who wrote that article?
Did you write it?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure
very
did.
good, very
Oh my
good.
God.
Okay, yes, good.
That's Bob. That's a project that's initiated by Bob Crawford and Sheila Murphy Crawford, and they're head of the Scottish Gardens. But I've been after them for almost 9 months to try to write an article about their efforts. And really, since I've been involved in bagpiping, which goes back into the 70s, they've been talking about trying to build a Scottish garden.
Right,
And
but there is one there, isn't there? I
Well,
thought there was.
there was one. Their designated area was directly across from the Irish Garden, but because of other nationalities that had momentum to build a garden, it was actually.
They had the funding.
Yeah, the funding, correct. Sheila Murphy was actually the president of the Garden Society, and what they did was that they gave up that area, and they took an acre of land which had been part of the British gardens. The British Garden was the first garden. It was actually originally built as the Shakespeare Garden back in 1916.
You know what? That is the first time the Irish got any land away from the British.
Yeah.
It's always been the other way.
Right.
But they're moving forward with that initiative, and I hope it works this time. I hope they're able to build a garden, as the article says, a garden of their own. So.
Well, what you're going to need to do the Scottish Garden, you're going to need an Eddie Crawford of the art, like we had in the Irish community. We had Eddie Crawford that came along, and he was the inspiration and the main funder of the Irish Cultural Garden. And I think every nationality needs that, because it does take that huge injection of cash to get that thing going. Otherwise, it takes an awful long time. Again, we're eternally grateful to Ed Crawford, Ambassador Crawford, for getting that started. So there are some really super rich Scottish people, but again, keeping up with the Scottish tradition, they're very secretive about their wealth.
I can't comment on
Yeah,
that.
I know. But they are.
Well, actually, the original 13 ethnic Gardens were built as part of the New Deal during FDR during the 30s.
Yeah.
And the Irish Garden was included in that. They were the original Irish Gardens. The renovation, of course, was what you're referring to, but the original 13, which I think after, British was 1916, but after the first one after that, I think was Germany, and then a number of other ones.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Ireland was like 1933,
39,
and then 36.
39 was the big
The big,
revival.
yes,
Yeah.
right. But that was part of the New Deal, which kept people employed and built the gardens, which are beautiful.
That's right.
So.
All right, Barry, I got to go to some music here, or Terry Coyne is out there somewhere listening. Saying, what is this about the tickets we talked about? Do you want to give a couple of tickets away?
Sure, they're right here.
Yeah.
I have them up here.
Oh, you got them?
I do. My wife just dropped them off since I
No, it's a cheap
ran out of the
deal.
house without them.
Yeah, so, Eddie, if you're listening in the next room, are you? He's not. I can tell.
He's on the
not,
phone.
He's not listening. So,
What do we want to do? Do I
We're
give
gonna
a
give
caller
some-
and then we have to get the address because we're going to mail them
Yeah.
out?
yeah, we're going to give 2 tickets away to the 5th caller at 216-901-0945. But Eddie hasn't, he's not connected with me. I can see him there. Eddie, do you have your ears on? You do? Okay. All right, number 5 caller
Yeah,
while
Eddie's
Barry
got
is
it.
playing. Call us at 216-901-0945.
All right.
Now, I see Johnny, our engineer, in the other room there, and he has a rock band, you know, Columbus, Ohio. Now, he's a rock musician, and he's saying to himself, how can I get that bagpiper to play some rock and roll music? I think you could do that, Barry, in his band. Okay. Anyway.
AC/DC did it, so why
Yeah,
not?
I remember there was a bagpiper here in Cleveland. I haven't heard from him in years, named Gabriel McCoy.
Sure, good.
Do you remember? Is he still around?
He is. He sure is, yeah.
And he used to play great rock music on his bagpipes.
Yeah.
He's a great, incredible bagpiper. Tell him I said hello if you see him in your travels.
I sure will, yeah. Probably the group that's most well known for turning rock music, or playing rock music on bagpipes is the Red Hot Chili Pipers.
Oh yes, yes, they are great. They are.
Yeah.
I think Pat Coyne had them at his festival a few years ago. I think he did. Oh, anyway,
They play at Dublin quite often.
yeah. All those great festivals coming up with, but remember the festival that Barry is talking about here this morning? It's coming up just in a few weeks on June the 19th through the 21st, right?
21st and 22nd.
21st and 22nd. 21st through the 23rd, right? June the 21st through the 23rd.
We don't do the Sunday, so it's just
Oh,
Friday and
you're
Saturday.
not doing the Sunday.
It's 2 days, yeah.
Oh, okay. All
It's
right,
the
okay.
21st and 22nd.
Friday and Saturday, yes, my mistake.
Yep, no worries.
Okay. In the meantime, I want to go here to Phil Coulter and James Galway, but Eddie looks like he's making his way from the studio, from the other studio. And while he's on the way, I want to mention that next Sunday, a big day here in Cleveland also. Sunday, June the 9th, at the Westside Irish American Club, the Rose of Tralee is going to take place. The VIP reception begins at 1:30, general reception 2 p.m., and then the selection program begins at 2:30. Food and drinks to follow. Sunday, best attire, Mike Killeen says. Mike is the man in charge of all the festivities. General admission is $35. You can get your tickets by going to Ohio Rose